Miss Haran and everyone. So this is my project about Michelangelo. So first I will be talking about all the facts about Michelangelo. Michelangelo was born in the year 1475 and he died in the year 1564. Michelangelo was 88 years old when he died. He was born in the city Caprice, which is in Italy. Michelangelo loved to paint, but he mostly liked to carve sculptures. And an interesting fact is that Michelangelo died in the same year that Shakespeare was born. Now I will be talking about three of Michelangelo's most known quotes. Nature did things well. I think he said this because he got the marble that he used to sculpt the sculptures from nature, so nature gave him something that he really loved. Number 2. I saw the angel in the marble and carved until I set him free. I think he said this because he had an imagination about what he was going to carve. So basically in that block of stone there was already a sculpture inside. The last one. In every block of stone there is a sculpture, and it is the task of the sculptor to find out what is inside it. I think he said this because when sculptors get stuff, it's the block of stone is going to be turned into something new. So that block of stone is destined to become a sculpture. So the sculptor just needs to find out what he or she wants to create. Now I will be talking about how my artist was guided into the art field. When my artist was 6 years old, his mother died. But after that, his father put him under the care of his nana. But the nana's husband worked at the marble quarry, and Michelangelo was inspired by what he did, and he self-taught himself to sculpt sculptures. Now I will be talking about if I could have lived my artist life. I don't think I could live my artist life because Michelangelo spent so much time in working on his artwork, and if I were doing that, I wouldn't have time to do regular things such as homework, piano, or the drums. Now I will be talking about 5 major events that happened in Michelangelo's life. At the age of 13, Michelangelo was apprenticed by Domenico Ghirlandaio, one of the most famous artists at that time. In the year 1501, when Michelangelo returned to Florence, he was recognized as the most talented artist in central Italy. Number 3. Michelangelo was commissioned to carve the David for the Florence Cathedral. Number 4. In the year 1508, Pope Julius II commissioned Michelangelo to paint the roof of the Sistine Chapel. Number 5. Michelangelo designed the San Giovanni di Florentini in the year 1559. It is a minor basilica, and it's also a church. And I made a story for one of his paintings, Donny Tondo. I know that being lifted up above the ground is pretty fun, but I am getting used to it. Everyone else gets a chance to touch that soft green grass, but I'm being held up in the air. It's not really that fair. Well, I guess it's kind of fair that I'm the only one that gets to have a beautiful view of the mountains. So that was my story about his painting Donnie Tondo. Now I will be talking about the Madonna of the Stairs. The Madonna of the Stairs is 530 years old. Michelangelo started carving it in the year 1491, and he finished it in the year 1492. Michelangelo sculpted this when he was only about 15 years old. The Madonna is only 22.3 inches tall, and it is 15.8 inches wide. This sculpture is one of the first sculptures he ever made. The Madonna of the Stairs is exhibited at the Casa Buonarroti in Florence, Italy. Next, I will be talking about Moses. Michelangelo started to sculpt Moses in the year 1513, and he finished it in the year 1515. Moses is now 507 years old. This sculpture is very tall. It is about 8 feet tall. The sculpture is made out of marble, just like most of Michelangelo's other sculptures. Moses is located in the Church of San Pietro in Vincoli in Rome. Moses is a well-known character from the Bible. He is a prophet according to the Abrahamic religions. Now I will be talking about the Pieta. The Pieta was sculpted in Vatican City. This work of art is housed in St. Peter's Basilica in Vatican City. Michelangelo took less than 2 years to sculpt the Pieta. He started to sculpt it in the year 1498, and he finished in the year 1499. The Pieta was damaged by a man named Laszlo Toth, but it was repaired after that. Michelangelo made the Pieta because it was requested by a French cardinal to decorate his tomb. At the age of 25, Michelangelo sculpted the Pieta. The Pieta is now 522 years old, and it is 5 feet and 9 inches tall. Now I will be talking about the Battle of the Centaurs. Michelangelo sculpted the Battle of the Centaurs around the year 1492. He sculpted this when he was only 17 years old. The Battle of the Centaurs is displayed in the Casa Buonarroti in Florence, Italy. This sculpture is 528 years old. Michelangelo sculpted this. When Michelangelo sculpted this, he was supported by a man named Laszlo Toth. Lorenzo di Medici, who died shortly after Michelangelo completed this. And Michelangelo created this sculpture because he was inspired by a bronze relief by Bertoldo Giovanni. Next, I will be talking about the Last Judgment, which he painted on the roof of the Sistine Chapel. It took Michelangelo less than 5 years to complete the Last Judgment. Michelangelo started painting it in the year 1536, and he finished painting it in the year 1541. Michelangelo was 61 years old when he painted this. Michelangelo started to paint, the Last Judgment was painted in Vatican City on the roof of the Sistine Chapel. Michelangelo used a technique called fresco to paint the Last Judgment. Fresco is where you paint on a moisturized wall, and it is also similar to a plaster wall. Um, Painting on a moisturized wall helps the color sink into the material, so the color can not only stay longer, but it also stands out. And the Last Judgment is now 485 years old. And I did this design under here to represent an example of the Last Judgment. It's not really what Michelangelo painted, it's a different design, but it's just an example. Okay. I chose this artist because I've heard many people talking about how unique and beautiful his artwork is. So instead of hearing compliments, I wanted to learn more about him. And that is my project.
Thank you. Very good job.